We're going to take a call from Dave, this guy in India, the nation of India. And his question is this is unusual. I haven't heard this one before. Are you ready?
Mhm.
Is God a conspiracy by the military-industrial complex? Dave, you're on AXP with Hemant Mah and Johnny P. Do you believe that?
Hi, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, so I think like it's just a control mechanism that has been invented by the elites, and it's like a mass generalization that has been done just to control the psychological stuff of people. And as we advance more and more towards a higher and higher techs, then we're gonna invent God for our own selves. And there is nothing really like a God out there, but we're gonna invent it for ourselves. And there's like Kardashev scale and a bunch of other stuff that indicate towards this stuff. So do you think that's like a good point of view?
So if I'm taking that question in good faith, and I guess the question is it possible that there is government need to control people and God is a way to do it? I mean, one argument against that is that belief in a higher power, no matter what you wanted to call it, no matter what those powers were, I mean, that's been around as long as human life has been around, far before there was any organized military aspect to it. So the beliefs have been around forever. And if they are trying to control people using God, I feel like it'd be very difficult to make that work because the specifics of that, how that God works, are so important to so many people that, I mean, Christianity alone can't get everyone under one roof. It's like herding cats for them as well. So even if it was some sort of like psychological operation or something by the government, I don't know how they would get it to work because the belief has been around, but the specifics of those beliefs vary, very importantly so for a lot of people. So I don't know that you would be able to make that work because what version of that would get so many people thinking a certain way? Religious people disagree with each other about the specifics all the time. And obviously, there's a growing number of non religious people. So I don't buy the idea that it's part of the military industrial complex. I don't think it could be because it's so hard to wield over people, also. So I don't know how they would make it work. It would just, it's a weapon with very bad aim.
Um,
Mhm.
Dave, what are your thoughts to that? And I have an observation
Yes.
too.
So I think like initially we were Homo sapiens, and before that we were
Still
like
are.
some kind of monkey or something. We still are,
Okay.
but like we were like nomads, and we were roaming around all across the world, and we were in different tribes, and we had our own inventions. But then as more and more globalization happened, as more and more territories were occupied by different kingdoms, and there was different kinds of interactions that was happening between different religions. I think we picked the best parts and we kept the best part, and that's all started during the 1 AD, because in 1 BC we literally had nothing, and there is no zero. So without zero, we just
Can I
started at
back
1
up?
AD, and then we just continued on. And
1 AD.
180. I'm going to skip some of what you said there, but just to go back, I think going back to your basic question, religion has always really been like this bottom up sort of thing. And I feel like your question is suggesting it's a top down thing, that people are telling people what to believe, or that they could tell people what to believe. I don't know that that's going to work. But as long as societies have been around, we always want to distinguish ourselves from another, give ourselves reasons to think we have it right, everyone
Yeah.
else has it wrong. I mean, that is true, but it's not like you could create religion as a way to, I don't know, exacerbate that problem. I don't think that's what's happening. I don't think there's any evidence that's happened in the past, or that, more importantly, that it could be used now to, I mean, I don't know how you even get that going, even if you thought that was possible.
Yeah. Dave, I don't
And
want
the
to
idea that it started in 1 AD, I'm still trying to wrap my head around
Yeah,
that
you're
one.
in India. You're in India, Dave. They have had Hinduism in India for a long, long time before 1
Yeah.
AD. But independent of that, okay, I think you started along a path that I was agreeing with you, and then you kind of got derailed. This idea that we were these simple, or simple is the wrong word, people who live in nomadic tribes have a complicated culture that keeps the tribe together. They have questions just like they did, and the people who still are nomadic have questions about the world. They have more resources than they used to. They have more lore and more science and more knowledge than they used to. But all of our ancestors were coming from nomadic tribes at some point, and we still had the same questions we have now about meaning and purpose, and ways to deal with the natural world, and ways to accept the vicissitudes of life. And I think that people were brainstorming. And then there were people amongst those people who became sort of spokesmen, who who binded the community with shared stories and myths and explanations and rituals, so that when you did encounter other communities, y- you had a connection to the people that you're with. You didn't just wander off. I think that it had
Right.
it had utility, but I don't think that it's necessarily a construct of the ruling class. I think that the ruling class, the leaders, co-opt these beliefs for use. But let's say, General Petraeus or whatever shows up and decides he wants his troops to believe in Ramatut, or Immortus or something. I don't know. I couldn't think of a real one, so I went to the Marvel
That's a
Universe
good one.
approach.
I would believe in that one.
They're going to be like, screw this. I believe in Ram Dass's teachings on spiritualism. I'm not worshiping Kang the Conqueror's many alternate versions. I'm not going to be a part of this. But if General Petraeus, I don't know why it's General Petraeus.
Yeah, you're going back like 20 years here.
I'll do better. Stormin Norman Schwarzkopf decides to say, all right, he starts sprinkling the fairy dust of religion upon the mission, right? That's going to get people to fight with their brains, and maybe a little bit with their sense of I don't know, of morality, or a sense of their spiritual sense of the righteousness of their battles. I think they'll fight a little harder. Um, sure worked for Paul Muad'Dib with the Fremen, right? But that's as far as I can go. I like a good conspiracy as much as the next guy, but I don't think that the leaders created out of whole cloth. Do you really think that, Dave? Do you really think that the leaders just decided that they did that?
So, what I really feel is that here, especially in India, since it's a developing country, and
Hmm.
the knowledge level, like the kind of knowledge and the knowledge level are really low. So people just put everything on God. And like in America, it's a much more it's a developed country, and you have a lot of resources, and there's a lot of information of different kinds of information. But in India, it's like a propaganda machine, a giant propaganda machine that is being churned out by the government, and everyone just believes that and goes with it blindly. I myself, I was a theist
Hmm.
almost 2 or 3 years back, and I used to believe in God. But then I came across all these different channels, like your channel. Thank you for that. And then the line and different kinds of podcasts on internet. So
Mhm.
that's when I started to realize that you guys are actually right, and these propaganda machines are just keeping us in a giant illusion. And even if there is a God, I'm fine with that. There might be a God, but it is like 1 trillion standard deviation away from our lifetimes, and it doesn't really affect us. And in order to live a good, successful humanly life, all you need is like good morals, good ethics, and some kind of work and purpose to do. And that's why I
Mhm.
just hate this kind of propaganda that have been going around, especially
Right.
over here.
Let me,
So yeah,
And
if
that's
I
why
may,
I wanted to.
thanks, Dave. If I may add to that, I mean, What you're talking about is like the Prime Minister Modi using Hinduism as a way to gain influence, gain power, use that
Mhm.
against other people. We saw that in the US with Trump using white evangelical Christians, that base, to use his power on others too. I mean,
Mhm.
religion can
Right.
be a force for good or bad, however you want to use it,
Right.
and certainly we've seen it being used for bad. But I think that that's a very different topic than trying to start from the top down and use religion as some sort of weapon against other people, because you would have to get everyone on board to begin with. And I'm sure this is true in India now, though I haven't followed this as closely, but I know it's true in the US. There are plenty of Christians here who opposed what was being done in the name of their faith. That's still
Mhm.
happening now. I'm sure that's true in India too, where plenty of Hindus are very upset at the way Modi is using Hinduism there. So it's
Right.
not like
Right.
it's a weapon that could be used all the time, because there's always going to be dissent. There's
Yeah.
always going to be discrepancies with how you want to use the religion and how it actually gets used. So I don't
Yeah.
know that it would work that well if you just wanted to make it work.
Yeah. Dave, we're going to let you go. And I would say that the use of religion as a way to control people, as a weapon, that's kind of a dangerous thing, because once the state, once militaries, once hell anyone gets involved in using religion as a weapon, although it's being used right now, they're going to find that it becomes an ultimate nullifier, right? That it's a weapon that turns in on itself. It destroys the user. Maybe not in the short, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon, and for the rest of their lives. And so when politicians use religion, it can backfire like no one's business.
Hmm.
And we're seeing that kind of throughout the world. And yes, Modi is using Hinduism as a weapon. Let's see where that takes him, and where let's see where that takes his legacy, because history continues even after the political career ends. But thank you so much for calling us, Dave. Do appreciate your call, and also we love it when folks from other countries call in, because they do bring a perspective other than ones in the United States and Canada and England, which we get a lot of calls from.